All right, so today we're going to talk about section 5.3. It is called adding and subtracting. Fractions. So our key when adding and subtracting fractions is to find a common denominator. Okay, so let's start with the first one. That says 1/8 plus 3/8. Okay, so this one is a pretty simple one. They already both have a common denominator of 8. So all I have to do is, I know my denominator in my answer will also be 8. Then I just have to do 1 plus 3 to get 4. So I would get 4/8. Then I do not want you to give me any answers that are not reduced. Okay, so to reduce 4/8, I can divide them both by 4 and get my answer of 1/2. Okay, let's try another one. 9 over x minus 7 over x. Now this is something we haven't seen before. So what you have to make sure is that they both have a common denominator, which this one does. They're both x. So that means my answer is going to be x on the denominator. Then I have to do 9 minus 7, and I would get 2. So my answer should be 2 over x. And that's it. That's our answer, 2 over x. I should make sure I'm putting boxes around my answers because then it's easier for me to find your answers on your homework and your test. All right, let's do number 3 here. Number 3 says, what if we have 7/10 minus 3/10? Okay, again, I already have my common denominator, so my answer in the denominator is going to be 10, and 7 minus 3 will be 4. I can reduce this one, so I have to make sure that if I can reduce it, that I take that extra step and do it. Divide by 2, divide by 2, so I would get 2/5. And that is my answer. All right, let's try another one. 4. Now this one's written tricky, but really it's not, okay? So don't get freaked out by what I'm going to show you. So 11 over y plus -5 over y. Okay, these are both y's, so I hope you don't think that it's a 4 or anything like that. They are both y's. Okay, so I have a common denominator, and they both are y, so I know my answer is going to have a denominator of y. So now what I have to do is I have to say positive 11 plus a -5. Now this is where a lot of you get confused, and I really wish that it wouldn't confuse you, because all I'm doing is I'm taking 11 minus 5. Okay, it doesn't say that, but that's really what it means, because I have a negative number and a positive number. So all I'm doing is subtracting. 11 minus 5 is 6. I mean, another way you could look at it is, say I have $11 in my hand, and I owe somebody $5. How much would I have left over? Well, if I had 11 and I paid them up 5, I'd have $6 left over in my hands. I really like that analogy because it really puts it into a practical, you can really figure it out because it's practical. You've owed somebody money before, or you've gotten money from somebody. So make sure that you take your time and think about those. The last test we had, that's why a lot of people got points off, is because they'd tell me that -4 plus let's not even make it negative. -4 plus 7 equals, they added them, so equals 11. Okay, so if this is negative, that means you have to take 4 away. Okay, so this one should be 6 over y. Let's try another one. 2/3 minus 1/5. Okay, so now this is one where we do not already have a common denominator. So we will have to figure what our common denominator should be. So if we times by 5 on the bottom, times by 5, times by 3, multiply by 3. Sorry, we're not supposed to be saying times. So then I would get 10 over 15 minus 3 over 15. Okay, 10 minus 3 is 7. Keep our denominators the same. 7/15 would be our answer. That one's already reduced, so we don't have to worry about reducing any. Okay, let's try number 6. Number 6 says negative 7/8 plus 3/4. Okay, so again, we got to get our common denominator. I like the number 8, because I can get them both to be 8 pretty easily. So I just multiply by 2, multiply by 2. So now I have negative 7/8 plus 6/8. Okay, so negative 7 plus 6. If I have $6 in my hand, but I owe somebody $7, that means I still, even if I give them all of my $6, I still owe them $1 and keep my denominator the same of 8. So the answer for this one should be negative 1/8. Okay, and now let's go through number 7. Number 7 says 3/7. Oops, I must be clicking something. 3/7 minus 2m. Okay, now this one you're going to say, well, we can't do it because they don't have common denominators. How do we normally get a common denominator? Well, we multiply by the opposite numbers. Okay, so this one I'm going to have to multiply by m, and this one I'm going to have to multiply by 7, multiply by 7. Okay, so my new problem that I'm going to have is 3m over 7m minus 14 over 7m. Okay, so now this gets a little bit confusing, you guys, and I apologize for this. Can we add or subtract numbers that are not like terms? We cannot. If I have 3 m's, which I have right here, I cannot subtract 14 because it's not 14 m's. If this had said 3 minus 14, then yes, I could have done that. But it doesn't. I have 3 m's, so that means I can't take 14 away. If this was 14 m's, then I could. So how I would write this one is 3m minus 14 all over 7m. Notice I just kept my denominator the same, which is exactly what I would do if it was a normal problem. I just have to keep my denominator the same. Okay, so if I cannot combine these like terms, which I can't because one has an m, one doesn't have an m, then I just have to write them out. Okay, so this is my answer for number 7. Now I know that's a little bit confusing, but you just have to remember. So if I have 7m plus 3m, I could make 10m's. But if I have 7m squared and 3m's, I cannot add them together. I cannot because this is m squared and this is m's. I can't add them together because they're not exactly the same thing. What about if I just had 7 plus 3? Can I add that together? Of course I can. It's still 10 like it's always been. But when we're working with variables, we have to make sure the variables are exactly the same, even down to the exponents. So make sure that you don't add anything that is not a like term. All right, let's try number 8. Hopefully this one doesn't take up as much room as last one did. So this one says 5 3/4 plus 7/8. Okay, so my favorite way to do this is to circle up. I'd do 4 times 5 would get 20, plus 3 would be 23/4 plus 7/8. Okay, now I need to get my common denominator. So I'd multiply by 2, multiply by 2. So my new number is 46 eighths plus 7/8. Okay, So now I'd have to say, what is 46 plus 7? 7 plus 6 is 13. Oh, 53. I was almost going to multiply that. So now I have 53 eighths. Now I have to say, okay, how many times is 8 going to 53? Well, it's not 7, so it must be 6. So I would have 6 wholes. Then I have to, 6 times 8 is 48. So I need to take 53 minus 48. Get a 4. Get a 13. Get a 5. So I would have 5 eighths left over. So my answer should be 6 and 5 eighths. If this is something that's confusing for you, how to convert from 53 eighths into 6 and 5 eighths, please come in and ask, because we have done this before, so I'm going to assume that you remember how to do it. So if there is a problem that you don't remember how to do this, please come in and ask me about that. Okie dokie, we've got 3 problems left. I'm hoping this video will be a little shorter than the last one. So this one says 5 and 2/3 minus 3 and 1/6. Okay, so again, I like circling up. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 more is 17/3 minus, now let's circle up again, 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19 sixths. Okay, so now let's make sure they have a common denominator. Let's multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 17 plus 17 is 34 sixths minus 19 sixths. Okay, so what's 34 minus 19? 14 minus 9 would be 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so I would be getting 15 sixths. Let's make it into a mixed number, please, not an improper fraction. So 6 goes into 15 2 times. That'd be 12. 15 minus 12 is 3 sixths. We can reduce that to 2 and 1/2. Because if I divide by 3, I'd get 1 over 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so this answer is 2 1/2. So make sure, you guys, though, because sometimes we will have to borrow. I know that you could have just taken 5 minus 3 and 2/3 minus 1/6, but that does not always work because sometimes you have to borrow, which in number 11, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's try to do number 10 here quick. 2 and 3/8 plus 7/8. Okay, so let's circle up. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 more is 19 eighths plus 7/8. Okay, 19 plus 7 is 26 eighths. So now let's figure out how many times can 8 go into 26. I know it is 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. So I'm left with 2 eighths. If I divide by 2, I'd be left with 3 and 1/4. Okay, 3 and 1/4 would be our answer. That is reduced. That is a mixed number, not an improper fraction. So we are good to go on to the last problem. Okay, last problem, number 11. This is why it is hard to sometimes do it the opposite way. Okay, because sometimes when we have a problem like 3 and 5/9 minus 2 and 11/12. Okay, can I take 5/9 minus 11/12? Well, let me see. They don't both go into 24. They both go into 36, though. So I can multiply that by 3. 9 goes into 36. Multiply by 4. Multiply by 3. So I'd get 20 36ths minus 33 36ths. Okay, then I'd get a negative, you guys, and that doesn't make any sense. So my answer would be 1 and negative 33/36. No. That's why I don't like doing it the other way. I really do prefer circling up every single time because I know I'm going to get the right answer. So let's do it circle up method. 9 times 3 is 27 plus 5 more. It would be 32 ninths minus 24 plus 11. $38. So that would be 38 twelfths. Okay, so don't panic yet. They are not common denominators. We can make them both 36. So again, I would multiply that by 4 by 4. Multiply this by 3 by 3. Okay, now we have some work to do. I know I'm going to have 36 minus 36. Okay, so let's figure out what 32 times 4 is. That'd be 8. That'd be 12. So I've got 128 on this side. And 38 times 3 is 24. 9, 10, 11 would be 114. Okay, so what's 128 minus 114? Well, that's a 4, and that's a 1. Okay, so our answer would be 14/36. I know they can at least both be divided by 2. Divide by 2, so I'd get 7. 36 divided by 2, feel like it's going to be 18. Yep, 18. 7/18. There's our total. Looks good. Looks like the right way, so we should be good to go. All right, that's all that I have for you today. I'm going to put the quiz up right now, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching.